No gold is not in her. She's a dime.
Welcome to another wonderful edition of the $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Papergoy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
And today we're going to show you some great things that we sold that hopefully you're able to find out there. And a couple of these, little shout out to Primetime Treasure Hunters who's following us now. Definitely appreciate that. Giving me some advice on how to build the channel. So definitely appreciate it. You check him out if you haven't already. And go ahead, Mr. Magazine.
All right, I'm going to lower my scale this week. I got some affordable items we're going to go over. Number one is a magazine. Papergoy, you're probably familiar with this title. I generally don't sell these, but it's been sitting in my store for about 5 years. Condition's okay. Mailing label's hideous, but nevertheless, it sold for about $15. I took the offer. So finally, someone did want this magazine, which normally I wouldn't list nowadays, but back then, 5 years ago I did. But Poets and Rays, you know much about that?
No, that one I really haven't come across very much to let you down a little bit there. It would be one of those that if I found, and this is kind of interesting, if I found one of those out at a sale, I probably would buy it just because, I haven't had that before. It sounds interesting. The problem is when you find 50 of those out at a sale, and then you say, I really want to take the plunge or not? And I probably wouldn't. So it's a lot of times you just find one-offs. It's kind of interesting, but when you got to go all in on them, sometimes you just don't.
So I took the plunge, and what I did was I bought a lot of them. I think I bought 50 of them at the time. And what I do is I don't list all 50 if I'm not familiar with them. I would give my employees 5 or 10 and see how they go. If they sell, I'll give them the rest of them. If they don't sell, then I can sit 5 or 10 in my store for 5 cents, 2 cents, whatever it is, and not worry about it until they sell, like this one. All right, the next one. Here we go. Papergoy's going to know about this one. Scooby-Doo number 2. And who's on the cover?
I can't see that. Oh, Abraham Lincoln, it looks like.
Amazing, because this went for $11, and the condition was actually pretty poor. It had a lot of creases, so I don't know if it's a rare one or not. Are you familiar with this issue? Or
They always sell. I usually tend to sell mine out on Amazon.
I would think a mint one has to go for 50 then, if this is going for 11 and creases and stuff on the cover. So
well, a little thing that you may or may not know, I pick up and sell my old issues off to you, the Overstreet Price Guide, and every year I get a new one, and I give you the old one. And out of the top 10 Bronze Age comics, believe it or not, the original Scooby-Doo number 1 is actually one of the 10 most valuable comics from.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people don't know that. I didn't know that last year, so I was looking through to see what I didn't have, and sure enough, I don't have that. Wow. So that's something other to keep an eye for out there. That's a very, very high-priced comic book.
So the number 1 of this series here?
No, not
different
the.
Series?
I believe it was a Gold Key series show.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, wow, impressive. All right, number 3 here. Back to catalogs, $130. Abercrombie and Fitch catalog quarterly, early one. Bruce Weber's in there. So
now, who was he in it, or did he photograph it?
He's a photographer. He's
right.
mentioned in there and so forth. But very famous. But I bought a big collection of these, and they're all the early stuff is at least $100 plus. So.
And they're actually kind of hard to find. I found a couple of them out there at flea markets from time to time, and I definitely do buy them. But they're not easy to find by any means.
Yeah, any early catalogs, you can't go wrong. Victoria's Secrets, you name it. So it was a good find there. Here's something that I should have thrown away, but stubborn me, I gave it to my employee to list a few years ago. 1980s fantasy figures case. It's like a knockoff for He-Man and so forth, but the condition here again was awful, and I took the $11 for it. There's a sticker on it. It had like some gooey stuff on it. I had to clean it off.
Oh, right, probably the sticker residue and all that.
I could have thrown it out like my employees wanted me to, but I chose, I wouldn't throw the $10 bill, would you?
Now, why do you think that's sold? I have a theory, but why do you think that's sold?
I think just vintage, and you can put your He-Man figures in there and so forth.
I think probably somebody had that when they were growing up. They probably had it, and then they looked on it. Yep, and said, "Hey, I used to have one of those. Oh, that's kind of cool." And it's priced right as far as that goes.
Sure. Yeah,
it's not like it's super high priced. Now, just a quick aside.
Sure.
Everybody had them growing up. The Star Wars Darth Vader case.
Yeah.
What does that go for now?
Very common. Average condition's probably $20, up to 1,000 mint with the original. There's a cardboard slip case underneath it. And if it sits in there, I think that could be as graded. Could be $1,000.
Now, when it came out, and again, I don't know this. This will be something that you in Primetime know. Weren't there the character names and all that? Were they on the case, or was there like a sticker sheet?
They had stickers, and then they also had an insert that was the shape of Darth Vader that had pictures of the figures. So
Okay.
you can put them, in each side that they belong.
Okay.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. Lastly, for me, we're back to Winruss again. I think we spoke about these last week, but I keep finding more in my warehouse here, so we put a bunch more up, and this one went for $80. Acme red rims is a variation, so we went for more money because of the rims, basically.
Oh, so there's different Acmes?
Yeah, different versions. They had different sizes. Winruss did a lot of different versions of all kinds of trucks. So, but this is a harder to find Acme one.
Wow. See, and I would have no idea at all on that. I mean, we all know the various Hot Wheels,
Sure. Yeah.
different spokes, if I remember, and all kinds of things.
Red lines. This had
Red lines,
red
right.
rims. So cool.
Right, right. But wasn't there a thing also with if it had 3 versus 5 spokes and
Yeah,
all that kind of thing?
variations. Yeah, crazy. Hard to keep up with this stuff.
Yes, it is. And on to my first thing over here, not able to find things out there going to sales or any of that because they're not out there anymore. So I would go out in the garage, and this was sitting out in the garage. No idea where I got it from. But Olivia Newton-John actually always sells. Now this is, counter standee, so it's probably about this tall.
Oh, I was getting nervous. I thought it was like a 6-foot one.
No.
You'd have lost out on the shipping.
Yes,
there.
I would have on that. Yeah, it's about that tall there, $34. And again, cannot argue with that at all. Mainly because it'd been sitting out in the garage for years and years, and I came across it and I said, I bet that'll sell. And thank goodness I have the Caesar scanner, because otherwise, good luck to me trying to get that on a regular scanner, and I probably would have taken a photograph, and then I don't have a good background for that. The Caesar scanner worked wonderfully. You crop it on down, and it went. I was very happy, and it also did not have the little cardboard piece to stand it up.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that would have made much of a difference or not, but it didn't have that either. But again, I'm happy to save $34 out of the garage. Have you ever had that magazine before?
I don't recall. No, I don't think so.
Italian American magazine. Didn't know that was out there. I figured you'd be right on the subscriber list.
Jeez.
In 1977, you'd be, 4 years old. Would have been great. A little bit of a condition issue, and it was missing the top right corner of the cover. Probably the reason that it sold was because of Sacco and Vanzetti. Have seen some other things that there is out there. They actually sell. I believe they were Italian anarchists, if I remember my history correctly. They actually do sell. So if you do come across a magazine with them in it, or anything with them in it, list it. There are people out there that do collect that kind of thing. And again, it's an obscure type magazine, and I'm sure whoever bought it never seen it before, and that's why they were happy to pick it up. Now, this one over here I've had listed for a long time. Have you had a lot of luck with the Juxtapose?
Oh, that's how you pronounce it.
Juxtapose, yeah.
I have sold those. I've bought a bunch in the past. Yeah, and they sell occasionally. I thought they'd sell better and faster for more money, but
Yeah,
they're okay.
Exactly. And I just kind of put it up there because the guy was telling about the pandemic years before. He's got the bandana down over his face. Although
nice.
I'm thinking with the gang signs he's flashing, it might not have anything at all to do with coronavirus. And again, that's another one of those things. I had picked a few of them up, and this might be the first or the second one I've sold, and they've been out since 2014. So we've got the bolos that we talk about. This would be what I'd call a no bolo. So don't be on the lookout for this magazine unless you see some great thing on the title, or maybe issue number 1, that sort of thing. It's got Korn in it, the rock band, which I listed on there, all sorts of things, and it took forever to sell. So probably not a great magazine to pick up. Next over here, increase the comfort and protection of your home. And these are the kind of things that I never understand, and I don't understand this for a lot of reasons. Number one, this is a brochure, and it literally is that size. Tiny little brochure, got $15 out of it, more than happy with that. The guy got it, and I turned my computer off, and I was done for the day, and all of a sudden I got notice of a return being put in for it. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what the guy thought he was getting, but okay. And about 5 minutes later, he closed the return. So apparently,
Nice.
I don't know. I don't know if he thought it was something different. I don't know if he put a return in on the wrong item. Could have been he thought he was getting something different and put a return in, and then took a look and said, oh, well, this is indeed what it said. I have no idea. I didn't actually click through on the return, which I probably should have. But sometimes these things happen, and don't let them ruin your day, because 5 minutes later, it turned out the guy was satisfied with the item.
I'm getting a lot of returns lately, but they don't want to return them because they don't want to waste the time going to the post office because of what's going on out there.
Are there any themes as to what the returns are because of?
No rhyme. Well, sometimes they don't. It's not what they wanted. It's too big, too small. Condition. There's all kinds of variables there. So.
Okay, I was just wondering if we saw any kind of a theme going across. And the last thing we've got over here is the Jessler's Court Polynesian drink menu. Now, I took an offer of this of $10, free shipping, no big deal. But this is one of those things that was in a lot that I purchased, and it literally is closed up. It's that size. It's just this tiny little menu. And then what I did is I went on and I did a lot of research, because again, there's no year on it, there's nothing else on there. So I started searching on the Jester's Court, started searching Tucson, Arizona, et cetera, and it opened in the late 60s and closed in the early 1990s. But you can tell just by the way this looks, and after you've been doing this a while, you just get a feel for it just from the paper and the way it looks and all that sort of thing, is that this has to be 1970s. And I listed it, and sure enough, it didn't sell at auction, but then it went into the store, and I got a $10 offer on it. I was more than happy taking that. Guy probably grew up down the street from it, or he drank there, or he met his first wife there, or whatever the case happens to be. He just was happy to get it, and I was happy to sell it to him. But a lot of times, a lot of other sellers would look at that and say, what am I going to do with this? And they would put it off on the side. They would sit in a box forever. And just to tell you, this odd kind of stuff like this will sell. We did actually sell another item on our, the $1 Million Peddlers site. I believe it went for 99 cents. Have not gotten paid for it yet.
Shocking.
But got a couple of things over here we're going to be listing over here. Nothing too big this week. Just kind of grabbed a couple of things out of there. A couple of Forbes and a Glamour. So hopefully those end up selling. They'll be listed soon. We're almost up to 10 positives, so that's doing well. Probably be starting to store up at that point. We're cooking with fire, as they say. Slowly cooking with fire. Yes. It's the we got it on the slow setting there on the crock pot, but we're getting there. But hopefully you enjoyed the video, and next week we'll bring you some more great things that we were able to sell. Thank you.
Take it easy. Thank you. Bye-bye.